config manager environment of any size has the ability to move content all around the world. Whether it's software updates from Paris to New York, applications from London to Stockholm, or packages from Canada to China, content is flowing all at once. Unfortunately, as an administrator, you don't often know exactly what content is being transferred where at any given point in time. You don't know how fast it's moving or how close it is to completing. Even if you could see it, you wouldn't be able to control it easily. With Config Manager, you can't pause a job. You can only kill it and then remember to restart it later. What you really need is a global command center that lets you view, pause, resume, reprioritize, or cancel content transfers in real time. LiveFlow is an enterprise-class, real-time content delivery operations center that lets your organization function at a whole new level by giving fine-grained control of content activity. LiveFlow shows you all content transfers worldwide, by office or by content. For example, you can pick the Paris office and see all transfers going to it, or pick a package, such as a zero-day exploit patch, and see where it's transferring worldwide. For each activity, LiveFlow gives admins real-time visibility into the source IP address sending the content, the target IP address receiving the content, the percentage of data sent, the data that's remaining to be sent, the time remaining for the transfer to complete, the average speed of the transfer, as well as the current speed. Not only do you have insight into where your content is at and where it's going, you also have full control over every single transfer, meaning you can pause the transfer if necessary and then resume when you're ready. You can reprioritize to up to 256 different granular levels of priority. You can cancel transfers, and you can even change the transport protocol, down to the individual office and machine. The LiveFlow Dashboard lets you view and manage all content in real time. If you want to see the status of your content as it flows across your WAN, you can start from the top with all content, and you can get very granular by your content type. You can pick boot images, driver packages, as well as your config manager applications that are being deployed. Of interest is the content that's flowing across my WAN from my New York location to my Chicago location. As you can see, I have several different content types flowing across my WAN. I want to see the status of this boot image, so I'm going to show details. From here, I can glean a lot of useful information, such as the office that sent the content, the endpoint in that office that delivered my content, as well as the IP address. It is a little bit cut off here. I can see the office that the content is going to, down to the individual machine that's downloading the content. Again, this is cut off, but the IP address is actually available in reporting. I can see the download status, so how much is downloaded out of how much is left. I can see the speed as well as the time remaining as this travels across my T1. This is very useful information for a config manager admin to have. If I wanted to, I can interact with all of my content by just clicking through this list. If I see something that I don't like, I can reprioritize it. I don't think that this one's traveling at a speed that's really useful for delivering content across my WAN. So I'm going to change the priority. It's set at medium priority, and I'm going to change it to something else. When this content receives a policy, it'll refresh in the dashboard and you'll see the priority change. Similarly, I can right-click something and I can pause it. I could also change the transport type. My options are using the background adaptive transport, which is the transport protocol that you want to use if you're using OneSite, if you care about your business traffic and how content flows across the WAN. Otherwise, you can tell the content to default back over to foreground transport, which is more similar to how content flows if it's using a config manager native transport type. If I decided that I made a mistake and I sent out several high-risk deployments to the wrong collections or to the wrong offices, I could actually pause all content that's currently going across my WAN, as well as prevent any new content from being transferred without actually killing any jobs and then having to remember to go in and restart them again. So I click pause. And then I wait for my dashboard to refresh. You can click the refresh now, or if you have it set to something higher and you wanted to make it go faster than what you had it set to, you would just click this button. As you can see, I no longer have any content flowing across my WAN. without having to open the Config Manager console and individually restart jobs, which is actually a lot of manual work for an admin to have to do. I simply click the resume button when everything is good to go. I can then refresh my dashboard. Again, if you had something set higher, this is in seconds. If you had this set up to 30 seconds or several minutes, you could go in here and have it refresh manually. Now, as you can see, my content is flowing across the WAN again. I had something that I had paused individually before. I've decided that this package is okay to flow across my WAN again. So I remove the pause that I placed on it. I decided that I wanted to change my priority level that I originally reset to 255. I decided that I wanted to set it back to its default, so I could go back in here and change the level to something else. So I'm not stuck with what I've set it to. I can change it back to something else, so when it receives the policy, it'll refresh in the dashboard, and it'll show up again in priority overrides. And if you remember the content that I changed to the foreground transport type from the background transport type, I decided I wanted to move it back to the background transport type so I can do it here without having to actually kill this job and restart it in the Config Manager console. So again, when my console refreshes here, then I see everything is back as it should be. This is very useful things that you can't actually do natively in Config Manager that can save your organization a lot of time and your admins a lot of headache.